How would you describe that? Old drunk guy?
Oh, well, I wasn't even listening.
Digital signatures, comrades, provide part of the solution. But
Uh-oh. Are we on?
are we online?
Is this where we act normal?
Oh, we're talking.
Oh.
Oh, we're
Oh,
online.
our camera guy is signaling. Talk.
Oh,
Well,
we're doing
hello,
a
crypto
podcast.
freaks. My name is Brett Musser. I do business development, and I write. Copywriter here as well, and my colleague here, William Swanson, is the chief architect of Edge. And
I designed the building that we live in or work in.
yeah, that we all love and
That
use.
kind of architect for sure.
Yeah, so today we want to kind of revisit a topic that we talked about last week. I want to start off with the Shapeshift, kind of what's going on in their kind of shape-shifting form. As we all know, or as some of our users know, and a lot of people in crypto know, Shapeshift was an exchange without accounts, and now they're going to be shifting towards a account-based model, membership-based model, and they describe the membership as a reward system. So you sign up, you have to give a little personal information, and then you can trade, and you'll get, they say higher limits, some rewards for volume, stuff like that. But yeah, so a lot of people are disappointed about that, and give a little information on how we are adjusting to that. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is integrating new exchanges, other exchanges, and that we've been talking about that internally for a while now. So it really, nothing that Shapeshift is doing changes what we had already planned on doing. But for users that are using the app now, you know that you don't have to give up any personal information. You can just put in an order for a trade. Shapeshift doesn't know who you are. We don't know who you are. But going forward, when you go into, or I said, when they make the membership mandatory, you'll go into like a Shapeshift web page and sign up for their membership, and we'll be able to save that token on your device, so you don't necessarily have to log in every time you do it. And yeah, we'll save the token. It'll know who you are, and you'll be able to use Shapeshift. But I actually talked to an exchange the other day out of Eastern Europe that is really excited about potentially moving forward in the integration, and I know there's a bunch of other Shapeshift-like exchanges that we will be integrating. And one of the cool things we'll be able to do is aggregate price quotes from the different exchanges. So if you want to go from Litecoin to Bitcoin, we'll be able to search for prices and see which exchange will give the best price for your specific trade. Anyway, so that was a quick note on Shapeshift. We were talking a little bit before the show that, a lot of we're in a bear market, and a lot of the same
bit of a bear market.
Yeah. A lot of the people seem to be, nipping at each other and kind of the same old arguments. There was just a recent episode debate. I don't even know. It was kind of a clown show
it was
between
a cruise. They were on this
blockchain cruise. Yeah. Did you watch the debate at all?
I didn't really watch
Yeah.
the debate.
You just kind of heard
I heard it through the grapevine.
Yeah, and the debate was between Roger Ver, who's a big proponent of Bitcoin Cash and one of the early proponents of Bitcoin, and then Jimmy Song, who has been kind of a cheerleader for the current implementation of Bitcoin
BTC.
and Bitcoin and their vision of Bitcoin as digital gold, and Roger has his vision or preferred vision as
cash.
digital cash that everyone can use in day-to-day commerce. Yeah, so I don't know if you had any thoughts on what.
Well, I mean, the
whole
drama
debate was.
whole thing is just kind of like, it's like kids fighting in a playground. I mean,
Yeah.
part of it's kind of just ridiculous, right?
The narcissism of small differences. I think that's like a term people use. The closer you are, the bigger the smaller differences seem. Yeah.
Yeah. I can kind of see that. I mean, it's amazing. Like, we should be professionals, right? We should be, acting like respectable adults and at least respecting other people as people, right? But
Yeah,
this
yeah.
whole, like, I can attack you because you're on the wrong side. It feels very wrong.
Yeah, and both sides are guilty of a character assassination and
absolutely.
straw manning certain arguments, which a lot of these things are very, very nuanced and almost come to almost like a preference of values or vision, and people see things differently, have different competencies in different areas.
And it's actually gotten so bad. I don't know about what it's like in the BTC community, but in the BCH community, the Bitcoin Cash community, on Reddit at least, there's a lot of fear that they're being attacked. And so that fear is causing people to actually kind of turn inward and attack each other.
Paranoia, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I read an article by Chris Pasha. I think he's the Open Bazaar guy.
Yeah.
So very well thought out article, good arguments, explaining his position and why he thinks certain things. And then at the end, there's a bunch of comments like, I always knew you weren't a real Bitcoiner.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's not how you approach somebody who you disagree with. You should be like, well, you're wrong because.
Well, and it seems like the nature of social media is you always have to escalate to get attention, right? So anyone that comes in with like, I respect your position, or comes in with a nuanced, reasoned, taking both sides of the coin, pun intended, is, gets no attention and garners no support. You have to kind of fight for the extremes if you want any sort of attention.
People love drama. I mean, it's fun to watch drama. It's all this YouTube video with the. I didn't watch the video, but I did see the YouTube video and the comments it generated. And, just the amount of just like, oh yeah, go Roger, tell Jimmy Song, what a jerk. It's like, oh come on, like that's not a
and I guess it's just a deeper problem in our culture, right? We're seeing in
you see
politics
it all over the place,
everywhere.
Right? I mean, it used to be, at least in the United States, there's the two parties, right? The Republicans and the Democrats. And they used to be respectfully disagreeing with each other. Now it's like very violent. I mean, literally violence. You're seeing like, what was that town back east where there's like Nazi rallies and like people were like attacked by, mobs. Like it literally is turned violent. I can't remember what the name of that town is now.
Oh, you're talking about like Charlottesville?
That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Charlottesville. Yeah.
Gotcha. We actually have a question from let's see. Yeah, question on basically our take on Shapeshift going KYC. It's, I guess, speaking from my point of view, it's disappointing. I'm not upset because I know their leadership and what they've always been about. They don't necessarily want to do this, but they're kind of responding to regulatory pressures, which aren't unexpected for if you're in the money changing business. If you're exchanging,
they are money kind of transmitters, right? I mean, money goes to them and it enters their system, and then it leaves their system and comes to someone else. So they are transmitting money in a very literal sense.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, and but we'll be fine, and we'll be able to deal with it. And for a lot of users, it's really not that big a deal. A lot of people, when we've seen from the history of internet, people give up information, and and a lot of people aren't worried, and they're not necessarily big fish. But I know a lot of people are worried about their privacy. We're just disappointed, but I'm not. A lot of people sounded like they were upset at Shapeshift. I'm not personally upset. I know they probably fought this for as long as possible, and came to the best decision for themselves and their stakeholders.
Well, I mean, what do you think the future is? If they are being subject to this regulation, is it going to be across the board? Are they going to just go, or whoever they is, I don't know which regulator body is specifically responsible, but are they going to go down the board?
Yeah. So, I mean, let's see. That's why I kind of appreciate the paranoia in the Bitcoin community and how, what Satoshi was pretty well versed in money transmitter laws and the history of creating new types of currencies, right? So I think this is definitely foreshadowing what's to come for people that are in gray areas, right? There's going to be a crackdown, so there needs to be some type of I guess soberness on the part of people acting in crypto, like, hey, this isn't just some game where you can just create money and do whatever you want all the time. You need to be pretty sophisticated in how you get around certain regulations, governments, or anything else that could hamper your progress. And that's where something like this is another bull case for decentralized exchange.
If somebody could come up with a decentralized exchange that took Bitcoin in one end and put Monero out the other end, or vice versa, that would be like the killer application, because then what could you do to shut that down?
Yeah, it goes into the Monero black box, right?
Yeah.
And then comes out and you have no idea where it came from,
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
But how to build such a thing is the ultimate technological challenge.
Yeah, and then and all making it usable, right?
Right,
That's
right.
very hard. Pretty sophisticated people can use these decentralized exchanges that exist now, but if you're not so much.
To have it just be sort of like a smartphone app that's just very simple, or even integrated into a wallet like Edge, like that would when I got involved in Bitcoin back in 2013, I wanted this thing. It didn't have Monero back then, but I wanted a decentralized coin exchange, and we still don't have one. 5 years later, it's been a tough nut to crack, and people are making progress, but I don't think that we have anything that's really usable yet.
Yeah, I think there's a project called Bisq that's gotten a decent amount of use, and I know there's been a lot of excitement over the 0x protocol and Radar Relay and what they've got going on with ERC20 tokens. But all this stuff, I mean, crypto is way, way, way far ahead of most of the population, and
So
what
it's
people
hard
can
enough
use.
to already install a Bitcoin wallet, figure out how to get fiat money into Bitcoin, or get someone to pay you Bitcoin some way or another, and use it to buy something. That's already a very steep learning curve. I mean, I try to get my friends and my relatives to install our wallet and give them some money to play with, and it's not easy to get someone who's not into the crypto space started. And then to throw this other layer on top to say, okay, now we have this regulation that says you can't have a centralized exchange like a Shapeshift that can do, money changing. Now we have to go to this other level of technology above that. I don't know how it's going to happen. Whoever can solve this problem will make a killing in this space.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Any other topics we want to discuss right now?
So what do you see the future of crypto being then? I mean, if we're looking at kind of staring down this situation where governments are kind of encroaching in, they're starting to have people tidy up and be like, you've got to follow the rules. Just because you're crypto doesn't mean you get to skirt away with not following our rules. What do you think the future is going to look like? Do you see us like retreating into sort of a dark web, like super high tech, like, it's undetectable, or is it more of like it's going to go mainstream and it's going to be regulated, or is it going to be both?
I guess it'll always be in that. It depends on the sophistication of the users. Most people will be in the light, right? So they'll be using regulated stuff, but there'll always be a place where people can use it kind of in the dark. But we're definitely in we went through a huge bull market in 2017, a huge wave of capital, eyeballs, attention. And now we've been in a bear market for a pretty brutal one for the last
6 months.
Probably 2018 in general. Don't necessarily see that reversing anytime soon. But this is also happening in a context where the legacy markets have been in a 10-year tear, right? And we know from the history of financial markets at least over the last century, these things go 8 to 15 years, right? And there's a credit expansion, and then a kind of a panic credit collapse, and then the central banks all around the world basically print more money and destroy the currencies.
So wait, you're predicting that there may not be blue skies forever in the fiat dollar system?
Yeah, so at any moment there could be a crisis of confidence and trust, right? And whenever that happens, people start thinking of other tools, other things that they could trust, right? And it doesn't take that much money to come in for crypto to have a substantial return on investment for people that are already in it. But you never know the timing of these things, but things are being built at a rapid pace. And I've always expected just like kind of an exponential flowering of products, services, companies, ideas that are kind of thrown out there, and we'll see what sticks. The future it's not going away. Hard to tell when things kick back up again into high gear. A lot of it is dependent on where what the money is doing in the traditional markets. But we even have a lot of the traditional guys have been toying with things. Goldman's opening up a trading desk. There was actually someone put out a story that they weren't, and then Goldman quickly corrected that and said that was completely made up. They're still going forward with that. I know Morgan Stanley plans on building some type of derivatives product, and all the guys on Wall Street care about is making more money. So if they think they can
do it on crypto,
create some type of product for crypto, they will. And my view hasn't changed. I'm a little, I think people are bored. We were talking about before, because there isn't some type of existential crisis, so they're because people have chosen their sides, Bitcoin Cash, or they have their altcoin. So now there's just like petty arguments about the same things over and over and over again. I have no concrete predictions other than the system that we're in is going to continue to be volatile, built out. People are going to keep building.
Sounds like what you're describing is basically we're going into a future where this is going to go mainstream, but it's going to go mainstream not in the way the crypto anarchists wanted it to. It's going to go mainstream in the sense that you have your Coinbase account with your KYC, or your Edge wallet with all our KYC partners in it. You have mainstream companies that do financial planning include crypto as a part of a balanced portfolio, just like gold's kind of included. A couple percent of that's fine. And it's just kind of a thing that just kind of is there.
Yeah, it'll be mixed into the mainstream, and it'll be outside of it at the same time.
So we could see. Do you think the merchants will ever take it directly? Do you think you'll ever go into your local grocery store of choice and the point of sale system just takes crypto?
For sure, I think so. Right. I see no reason why it wouldn't. Merchants will respond to the market, and as long as it keeps growing and there's adoption and it becomes easier and easier to implement, which people are working on every day, it'll just be a no-brainer and kind of easy to set up. I set up my internet yesterday, had Cox Cable come by and set it up. Before, getting on the internet was an arduous task. Early 90s, you had to be really motivated to do it, and there wasn't a lot of mainstream companies that do it. Now, I just call them up. They bring in a modem, some routers, whatever, and set it up, works. And it just works. But we're definitely a long way away from that.
So it looks like one of our users was saying that they kind of missed the 2013 community. Now it's just about making money.
Yeah.
I guess that community kind of lives on, though. Those are like the anarchist types.
Yeah.
The kind of people who want to shut down the government and just replace it with some kind of free society.
Yeah. Well, the more real something becomes, the less pure it is. So
that's an interesting state. I've never thought. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So the real world is pretty dirty and fallen, so to speak, and things aren't as clean as you want them to be. So in 2013, it was more of a dream of people on the internet, and it's not like all of it is false. A lot of it is still true, but people's dreams of what it will become kind of clash with real world realities. It's never going to be, the beginning of the revolution is always much better than after the revolution. Right? And
that seems like a very dark view of what crypto is, though.
I think that's a dark view of life in general. Because things in your head are pretty clean, but once you get out into the world, it doesn't. You might be 90% right, but you're never going to be at that 100% pure what you want it to be. And you kind of hack it together and make it work anyways, and you move on.
So the world will be better with crypto in it versus not having crypto in it, but it won't be as amazing as we had this utopian vision of.
No, yeah, it's never. Yeah, I feel like if you, just my limited view of history, just people have ideals in which you work towards, but you can never really fully obtain them. But you should, even though you can't do it, you should still strive for it. So, and I guess that's always like the proper orientation, where you have certain ideals, certain purities that you want to maintain, but know that it's not going to be exactly that way, and that's okay.
So always working forward to make the world a better place.
Yeah,
but you're
exactly.
not always going to achieve it exactly as the way you envision.
Yeah, and crypto's it's a tool, right? And it's designed in a way that people can use it in any ways they want to. It's money, right? It's and money reduced to numbers, so people can use it any which way they want to for any goods and services they want, and people can't stop them. And we know that human beings will do certain great things and they'll do certain horrible things. And a lot of people thought you're gonna recreate the whole financial system or transform it, and it's true. But a lot of the same things that are going on in the financial system, the traditional ones that people don't like, will happen in crypto and are happening in crypto.
Well, I suppose one big difference, though, would be if we move forward to a world where most people use crypto for stuff, and fiat currencies have crises every couple decades, as they do, and the dollar continues to lose its value because what happens if there's another fall? The Fed will step in, as they did last time, and print lots more dollars. And then that's going to drive the value of the dollar down even further. And meanwhile, crypto will just be there, the same 21 million Bitcoins that always have been.
Exactly.
And so we will eventually move to a system of sound money. So what does it look like? Why would that be important? Because we have unsound money now. We have fiat that's printed at will, and then we move to a system where money can't be printed.
Well, I guess my simple conception is you want a world where, ideally, where money is limited and goods and services are unlimited, and fiat makes a world where money is unlimited and goods and services are limited. So, and you need some type of myth or some type of psychological, some type of psychological trick of scarcity to get people to value it. And what is it called? Be attracted to it. So it's like I think that just goes for attraction in general. If a resource is unlimited, you don't value it as much.
If the dollars are unlimited, you don't care.
Yeah,
which is what happened in all these countries that have had hyperinflations. The money became so abundant that the value became literally worthless.
Yeah, and when the money becomes infinite or unlimited, it goes the reverse direction. The goods and services become very, very limited. Right, in Venezuela, you have unlimited money, basically, just piles of it,
but the grocery stores
are bare. Right, so something like sound money reverses that, where you have limited dollars or limited some type of money good, and that allows a base on which limitless goods and services can be built upon.
So you could see a sort of a flourishing of society with more things available to people. Like, we no longer live in so much material poverty. Not that we ever live in material poverty. In this world, we're very much West productive.
Yeah.
Even homeless people, have food.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the best food, but it's
they're out. I see them downtown out here all the time, and a lot of them, they get around. They're able to eat and stuff like that.
It's not like in the past where you have a drought and there's starvation is a real possibility. Like, we live in a land of material wealth, but that could even be increased further by the presence of crypto. Is what we're saying might happen. Yeah,
I think so. I think it definitely allows us. I don't know if it makes the world a better. I think that's like too big of a task for anything. It allows us to connect the world in a new way. Right, before you had these silos of national currencies that limit the exchange of value, right, to certain geographies, and you have a monopoly on money by certain nation states, and particularly the United States. And I think crypto opens the space for a new global cooperation, collaboration, value transfer. Does that make the world a better place? Not necessarily, but I think it allows us to get to a greater level of sophistication, and might be a better. So there is also this debate of nationalism versus globalism, which I think the globalists go the wrong way about getting to globalization. And I think Bitcoin is the answer to what some of their, maybe if you could give them the benefit of the doubt, their good desire, their desires for a kind of a global harmony. And I think you really, honestly, you get that through value exchange and trading. And I think Bitcoin is a way to connect people as best as possible. Because at the end of the day, there's not a lot of cultural similarities between a lot of different cultures, but everyone speaks money, and they do like material goods and services, and that's a way. Money is a way to bring people together, not necessarily to bring them on the same page.
So it's not kind of like the old world globalization, which was imperialism.
Yeah, and Britain kind of a top-down.
Yeah, you'd send ships overseas to places that was less developed than you, and you would exploit their people, exploit their resources.
No, this is I guess more. This would be less utopian. Is like we all like money, and we like trading, and that's what humans do, or we like to do it. And this is the way to connect the world, not through some type of global top-down government, but more of a grassroots, bottom-up.
People to
money,
people. Peer to peer.
It might make people feel uncomfortable. Is like, is that the only way we can really connect? But I do think that's the first step in connecting, realizing that I have value, you have value, and we can kind of trade on that. Oh, we do have like another question.
We actually have a user question. This is
thoughts
great.
about updating the app UX UI. The wallet works well, but the drain looks dated. Honestly, I don't know what the drain means, but I guess the
design
the design looks dated. Any thoughts on that? UX UI. That's not your.
It's not
my expertise.
It's not my area. My job is to make sure that the wallet works flawlessly, which is very difficult in and of itself. But then the problem with Bitcoin in general is that there are a lot of things you can do with it. There are a lot of options. Right, you go to send money and it's like, well, it's an address, but how much am I sending? Am I using different mining fees? Like all this stuff. Where do we hide all of those things and then include like a help menu? That's the constant struggle we have is how do we keep it simple while still being full featured and doing all the things you need a crypto wallet to do?
So I guess the thought would be we're always thinking and updating the app UX UI. So we have a template and our engineers are constantly updating and improving upon, and we like to hear from our users on exactly what they would like to see. But there's nothing in the works right now that would be any type of big change to the user experience or
revamps.
And
a lot of little tweaks, but not a lot of big changes. And the next release that we have coming out that we're getting close to releasing is actually a polished release where we're going through the UI, UX, and we're just doing all the little things like capitalization and font sizing and all this stuff just to make it look really consistent and really nice with the design we have, but just polishing.
But the important thing is just getting this stuff to work because this is all bleeding edge tech, right? And it's constantly changing or on the verge of changing, and you have new coins, new capabilities, new realities, and we're always trying to. Just getting it to work, like you said, and that's kind of the heavy lifting that you do every day is a struggle, and we're on the cutting edge of technology, and just getting it to work is a daily struggle and grind, and we're going to continue to do that.
I'm actually really happy because I've been working for the past 3 months on this enormous internal project to change the way our wallet core works, and this week is like it's it. I'm like dotting the I's, crossing the T's, getting those pull requests in, and one of the things that may come out of this is actually better performance. So I'm really looking forward to getting that app running buttery smooth. Like you load up a thing with 20 wallets and it just goes. Like,
and that's
no stuttering, no delays.
That's something that the user's not really seeing, but it's a huge deal on our end.
Yeah, it's like I've been working on this for 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just huge.
I guess it would be something that a user would feel.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that covers it for today, right? Any other short comments?
As always, you can find us on the interwebs. We have lots of social medias linked. You're obviously seeing us here now, so we have Twitter, we have Facebook.
Download Edge, do some cool stuff on it, hodl your coins. I think that's it.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the questions. And we'll be here next week at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
That is correct.
Bing! Oh, cramp.